Hello everybody, and welcome to Grindcast number 13. Is it 13? Yeah, it's 13. Yeah, we're there. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since the last one. So we'll just get right into it. So I'm joined by my 3 cohorts, criminals and crime. There we go. Beta, how are you?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me here, Dread.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm always here.
Yeah. JB, yourself?
Meh, as usual.
Meh. Yeah, it's been a meh kind of week so far. And it's only Wednesday.
I know, right?
I got 2 days off. Yeah!
Shush. And lastly, Quad, how are you?
The fourth musketeer.
Are there any places we can buy antidepressants for JC?
I don't know. He lives around the Midwest. That should be a good area. Just go to a local corner and just get some stuff.
What are you trying to say?
We just want you to be happy. We just want you to be happy.
'Cause I'm happy.
If
More
Blizzard would do something with Diablo 3, I'd be happy. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to be negative. I'm sorry.
Soon, trademark.
Okay. JC, Jamie, we'll let you go first. How have you been? We'll let you get a little vent out before we go on to the others.
No, I'm actually perfectly fine because I haven't gamed at all in the past 2 weeks. I did nothing but watching movies and sitting on my butt vegging. It's been great.
Oh, okay. So what movies have you been watching?
Basically, let's see. I have Ultraviolet, Aeon Flux, the Jurassic Parks, the Mummy movies, like Mummy, The Mummy Returns, and then the Return of the Scorpion King, that kind of shit. And then what are some other ones? I was gonna watch the Aliens quadrilogy, but I don't know what happened. I came back to my computer for something, and then I've just been stuck here ever since. Yeah, it's just been a lot of random movies,
I still need to see Prometheus. Even though everyone's like, what the hell is this movie? I still need to see it.
It's not a bad movie, but it's kind of like B-movie as far as the killing scenes and predictability.
Well, I figured as much, but it's like Aliens, just with better graphics. But it's not supposed to be an Alien prequel. Psh, no, it's not. Shh. It is. No, it isn't. Shh. Okay.
Oh, it only has the ship that actually they find in the first movie, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? yeah, right. Yeah, no, trying to make continuity here. All right, Quad, how have you been?
Good.
Just easy going, good.
Yeah, just getting excited for the World of Warcraft.
You Canadians speak so simply. It annoys me.
Apparently, I have a Canadian accent. Apparently, Mario is actually supposed to be pronounced Mario.
Things like that I don't typically notice until they point it out, and then it's like, oh, why? But, yeah. Alright. So, and last beta, how are you? How have you been? What you been up to?
Doing great, I've been watching a few movies too. I just got done watching The Dark Knight last night. I forgot how awesome that movie is.
Yeah.
But other than that, kind of just the same old stuff. I resubbed to WoW, and I'm kind of liking it. Doing a lot of PvE content in there, so hopefully we'll get caught up in the WoW news again.
Yeah. I finally got my Leroy achievement in WoW today.
Nice, congrats.
So a few years late.
What's it up to? Is it 75 of those little buggers that you gotta kill in 10 seconds or something?
You should have just waited.
Something like 50 in 15 seconds.
Oh, okay.
They're bringing back that instance in level 90 version. And I don't know if you're going to be able to get the title there, but I know that there's a dead Leroy in it.
Yeah. Alright. Before we get too far in, I'll just quickly say what I've been up to. I haven't been up to anything.
Okay, cool, moving on.
Actually... shut up, Muggsy. No, actually, I've been kind of like good old JC. I haven't played too much of Diablo because I've just been waiting for this PTR just to get settled. And, you know, I could read one patch notes and it's everything that's actually in there versus, you know, half the stuff has been changed and whatnot. Still been following it loosely and going from there, monitoring the changes. Still a couple weird things in there. Her stone still looks interesting, even though I'm like, I don't want to spend money on it. And I've defaulted back to a game I always tend to default back to in Blizzard gaming woes, which is usually always around the summer. APB Reloaded, All Points Bulletin. It was like an MMO RPG shooter game. It was supposed to be really big, and it really was big when it launched, but the development house just was, let's just say, less than spectacular on actual in-game support when it launched, and it like cratered, like it didn't even go free to play. Like it actually went like servers down, and then Gamers First came in and rescued it, and it's actually pretty decent now. Basically, you know, cops versus criminals. You get to get cars, you get to customize your character out the wazoo with tattoos, artwork. You can take clothes and put all patches and colors and artwork all over them.
That's been highlighted on Steam a bunch of times. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a first-person shooter, but you get to drive around cars. It's like a different form of GTA, essentially. I mean, it's just a nice, like, you can go in, you don't have to play in the quest, you can get in the car and start running over people, living out stress. I'm not advertising people who get in their car start running over people in real life. That's a whole different thing. That's vehicular manslaughter, and I will not get a lawyer for this. I don't have the money. All right. So now we have the disclaimer in there. That's pretty much been it. I have been working behind the scenes with the lovely folks, Ro and others, who do the World of Podcast event. That happens the night before BlizzCon. And I can say that GrindExp, via myself, will be represented at the World of Podcast event on November, I think it's 6th. I have the web page open. And yes, November 6th is when the event is going to happen in the Anaheim Hilton Hotel, you know, right smack dab next to the convention center. You know, the infamous hotel where everyone goes to get a drink and see a developer, and hopefully you're not too drunk and you smack a developer in the face for nerfing their class. Bad press vibe there. Disclaimer. So we're going to be part of it. We're going to be, you know, doing light advertisements here and there. You know, pimp us, pimp them. All good things around. Looks to be a good event. Looks to be a much bigger event compared to last year. And that's pretty much been what I've been up to the last couple of weeks. Other than that, and my back kicking my ass. But that's a personal problem. We will not go on the web with that one.
So what's going on with like personal problems? Nevicus got his foot thing, you got your back thing.
It's just the summer kicking everyone's ass. That's what it is. Like, I just want August to be over. I want September to be here. You know, kids go back to school. They don't bother you anymore. You know, Rosh Hashanah comes around. Yes, I am Jewish.
God,
I'm allowed
old.
to say that. And then we get back into holiday season because God, I need those work holidays. I'm like, yes, please. I would like my Thanksgiving 2 days off. I get 3 days off for Christmas this year. I'm so fucking happy. But yeah.
Yeah, I had to work Thanksgiving last year, but probably this year I'll be unemployed still, so I'll be able to do nothing instead of working.
Silver lining. Well, hopefully you'll find something before then.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah. Alright. Hey, you know what? Taking advantage of the moment, Jamie, plug your artwork skills, logo skills, and where people can find you. So if they're looking for, like, you know, BlizzCon stuff or logoing stuff, they know where to find you.
Well, I think it's kind of past the point of that, because I'm still trying to work on a couple people's things, and I'm waiting on, like, email commentary and stuff, and for them to get back to me and stuff. It's getting to be like a painful process, and I'm thinking about just kind of like giving up on it already and trying to find alternate means of finding cash, like robbing liquor stores or something.
If you can remember why you started, then you will know why you must continue.
quad comes in with a Zen like say.
Whoa.
Okay.
I know, right?
All right. Well, okay. With that, we'll move on. I'll do something for you, Jimmy. Don't worry. All right. So let's move on to Blizzard Gaming. We're like 11 minutes into this bitch. Let's move on. All right. Let's do Diablo 3 first. So, what's been happening in the wonderful world of Diablo 3? There's the patch 2.1 PTR is still going. Massive amounts of updates. Almost kind of too many. We've been through 3 seasons and we're now in the 4th test season. So we know they're doing thorough testing of that and the carryover and everything like that. Because did they screw up on the first one? Like something happened with like the carryover, like characters got wiped and like no items went through. Didn't something happen?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, like something weird happened. So I was like, okay, we need to make sure. Oh no, I think it was legendary items. Like something happened. Like they only had the affixes, but they didn't have any like properties affixes like strength, crit damage or anything. Like they could somehow got like weirdly not identified, but they didn't have any stats. So they were the quite essential equivalent of like a World of Warcraft like stat holder. If you were like a wizard or a warlock with like a staff, like you never used it as a weapon, you just used it for a stat holder. It wasn't even that. So there were a couple issues with that. They released a whole big philosophy thing today. I know Jamie will probably get into that. He'll have comments. As well as the other big announcement was the Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition for the consoles was released the other day. And they've been pimping that shit out before Gamescom, during Gamescom, and even after Gamescom. So we'll get a little bit into that. So, Jamie, since you seem to be more up and up on that whole philosophy thing, would you care to go over that in some way or fashion? Loosely?
Well, it's not really a long and drawn-out philosophy. It's basically a few things, okay? The PTR has been iteration. That's their main big word that they're using. It's like, here we are, we're going to roll out one thing, and then we're going to iterate changes on it. We're not going to be like, okay, here's one big thing, wait a couple weeks, here's another big thing, wait a couple weeks, or whatever. It's iteration changes, I don't know. That's their thing. It seems to be working somewhat. It seems to get people complaining iteratively, as you would put it. But, yeah. And then they got a thing here where they're like, here's what we're not aiming to do. At least not yet, in their quotes. Expand class diversity. Which is like, that's like one of the biggest things they need to do. And buff every class through the roof. I don't necessarily need to, if I can talk, I don't necessarily think they need to buff every class, but they need to look at every class at tier 6 and figure out at least 2 builds or more that are viable. That's the biggest complaint everyone has in the forums. It's like, we want T6 viable builds. We don't want this cookie cutter crap where we only have to run one build. That gets boring. So that's the biggest complaint there. And unfortunately, it seems that's what they're not aiming to do right away. So it's kind of like I don't want to say a kick in the teeth, but it's kind of like one of those lackluster things that they should be doing, but they're not listening to the people, but I don't know.
Well, it's difficult, like, from a design standpoint, to get a bunch of different viable builds. And the thing is with viability, like, it changes. Like, some fights, some CC is going to be better than just pure damage. And Diablo is kind of built on a system right now that damage is king, and it's going to take a lot more than just adding a couple builds to like fix the game.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of the problem.
Well, one of the main problems is, like you said, the keywords viable that I used. There's an ongoing debate about viable versus efficiency. And efficiency is always winning. And there's always going to be one efficient winning build. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be many viable builds, but they're not going to be efficient. So I'm starting to see that. I think people want efficiency over viability. And Dread, I think you might have pointed this out with what was that one guy, the Holy Hermit, came out and said, "Hey guys, I got a fantastic viable build for T6." Guess what? That was an awesome viable build that he had, but it wasn't efficient. And in those comments that he had on Reddit, he got slammed by efficiency Nazis saying, "No, that's not efficient. That's not going to fit. That's not going to work. Blah 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 blah." But again, it could work.
Well, okay. See, this is the thing that Diablo 3 has. Any action RPG, any RPG, any MMORPG. The key thing is here, any game that revolves around numbers, and no matter how complex the gearing is, or even if there is a lack thereof gearing, any numbers-based game, which Diablo 3 is, it's a numbers game.
Sudoku.
Yeah, I mean, for crying out loud, for any game that revolves around numbers, like your item, like my shiny wand of woe that people would kill to have, is nothing but a number holder and an affix holder. But any other piece of gear is just a numbers holder. And in any game where you're going after numbers, you want the highest amount of numbers in this column, this column, this column, this column, this column.
Well, that's because in gaming terms, it's called calculations versus choices, right? So basically what I mean by that is we could have choices of class skills, but the way it's designed to be calculated. Look at the old World of Warcraft point stats or whatever. It was an illusion of choice. It was everything based around calculations to find the most efficient build and not you choosing your build. It was calculations. So we have an illusion of choice in Diablo 3 that we can choose what skills we want. No, everything is calculated. You can still calculate it because there's stats and there's stat holders and everything, like just like you're saying, it's calculated. So we don't have a choice. We have to go with the calculated efficiency build, and that's what everyone's griping about with the efficiency versus viability thing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, it's a numbers game. You're trying to be the most efficient with your builds. Now, whether you're efficient with your build that you're doing with your gear that you have, or you are trying to find the pieces to a top build, quote unquote, and you're trying to be most efficient with that top build or end game build, whatever you call it, those are two very distinct things. And usually the first one, your build, your way, is usually considered always the fun way, and the top build or end game build is usually considered the most efficient. But people in the community, and it's more human personality, which is why Diablo 3 suffers a lot from, it's the community's fault, and it's because the development team's is ignoring human personality in their development cycle. Like, that's like the last thing they need to take into consideration, and they're ignoring it, because that would help out a lot of things. People naturally, they want to be the strongest, they want to do everything the quickest, the fastest, the strongest. Cue Draft Punk song right now. And they want to do it kind of regardless of whatever they're told. Like, they'll tie fun to being the most efficient. I'm being most efficient, this is the most fun because I'm able to do XYZ in this amount of time and get this far. So that's a community mindset that needs to change. But it's going to be hard to change that when the game itself is built towards that, where not every rune is most desired, for the simple principle of they tied elemental damage to runes, which is a step forward, but they should have just tied it to, like, you select it, or like the legendary gems they have you could like roll a like plus 100 elemental damage on it, or like whatever you want to do, but not tied to the runes, because as soon as you tie stuff like that to a rune and you don't pick it because it's not the right elemental damage, you're limiting choice. and that kind of harkens back to what
Well,
you were saying.
Here's also a problem too. It's like, say you like the ruin of a certain skill, right? But it's cold damage, we'll say as an example, and the ruin of lightning that you need is a really crappy skill with really crappy damage, and you just want those reversed. So by, like what you said, tying elemental to a particular rune kind of gives you, if you like the way that skill rune works over another skill rune of a particular element that you want. So that pretty much limits your abilities there for choosing good skills there. So
yeah, I mean, for as much improvement that they're doing and they're continuing to do, I mean, we are getting seasons, we are getting leaderboards, we are getting a whole bunch of class adjustments and XYZ items, old, basically trash legendaries past your leveling up phase that you just threw out or just salvage for the craft you may actually use now, because they're actually getting unique legendary affixes rather than just run-of-the-mill ones. They're doing a lot. I mean, as I've said, this patch has nothing but grown and grown and grown and grown and grown to rival what we got in the expansion itself, almost. When you break it down, there's still a lot of minute balancing and just like, okay, instead of advancing and making this thing more complex, we need to step back and just simplify it a little bit and just make it a little bit easier and open up choices at the base level rather than going all the way up and above into the gearing. Like, okay, this item will balance out this class. Well, what if you never get that item? Or what if the item you get is good but you don't have the other items to support it? The class is still broken. So they have to go back to the base classes and fix those issues, which they are working towards. But again, if it's not going to arrive in 2.1, I mean, we got our seasons, we're getting our ladders, well, same thing.
Well, that's what they explained in the iteration process.
Going to come out? I mean, that's what it was. I mean, yes, iteration process, but like, when's the next one coming out? I mean, is it going to be beginning of next year? Is that like a real...
Well, my thing and my theory is, Josh already said during the Gamescom live feed when he was doing an interview, he said in a few weeks we're going to have a 2.1 PTR come live. So we figure somewhere in September, right? Then seasons they're probably saving for BlizzCon, and they're probably going to. I would think they would have to come up with some other surprise thing to make Diablo BlizzCon fun. Otherwise, it's going to be another meh.
They could just promise PvP's coming again.
Yeah, they could promise that, but good luck. Yeah, it's probably going to be another meh BlizzCon, unless they come out with some kind of surprise thing to add to seasons or something to give us like, oh my god, it's actually kind of cool thing, And yeah.
Well, we'll save that for later. When we do BlizzCon predictions! Yeah, we'll get there, folks.
Finally.
Yeah. Hey, we'll get there. So that's enough about the PTR for now. I mean, again, overall, a lot of improvements. They are taking strides forward, but there still are things that, as Jamie pointed out, that things are admitting like, okay, this is slipping, and I mean, it's not that we hate the game. I mean, we all played it. We all put however many hundreds or thousands of hours into the first one. Jamie and myself, we got the Paragon 100, like, we were like bros. Like, him and his monk, me and my wizard, we got up to Paragon 100 back in the day, if we could say that at this point.
That was back when Paragon actually meant something.
Yeah, and it's like, we love the game. It's just like, if you love something and you truly love it, you're willing to bash it to make it better. I mean that's the basic principle with this game, with WoW, Heroes, any game that's in testing or any game that's out. I mean, that's just what it comes off as. So, we'll move on briefly to the console edition that came out. I think it's probably going to be a big success, as the first one was, compared to all the time they spent and everything they're doing. But I don't know, with bashing, I'm going to try to phrase it in a constructive manner. When I went on Reddit, someone had a small YouTube video. I guess they were streaming over to their computer, and they the whole Nemesis system, like an elite mob will spawn and will come after you, and if it manages to kill you, it will seek and destroy other people on your friends list. And for this particular player, now keep in mind, this was a feature they told us was coming during the fan site interview last BlizzCon. So I've known about this system. It was just a matter of like, what is it going to look like? And oh boy, this looks fun. But the funny thing with this person was not only did this nemesis mob, spawn in the middle of like him like doing like a bounty or like a campaign. So it could be any time, really. It was his own nemesis. It had already killed him once, and then I guess since he had no one on his friends list that was on or whatever, actually respawned in his game, and you saw like a little portrait hanging off the title, and it was his Crusader portrait. I think it was just like the standard portrait, but it has his name under it, so you knew who it killed. And he did manage to kill it the second time around, and like a legendary popped out. I think a magic item popped out, and kind of like a standard goblin, explosion. I would say what it looked like. So I'm like, okay, inevitably when the next Diablo 3 expansion comes out, they better have the Nemesis system in, because that would be amazing.
No. They better have it in at BlizzCon.
Well, again, we're talking a Blizzard time.
No.
We're talking a Blizzard time.
Do not give them the idea of putting all these cool features in another patch, dude. I'm not going to spend money if they keep postponing all this cool crap for a patch or an expansion or whatever, dude. No. They need to put this in now, or ASAP, or else. Because it's just...
It's not how Blizzard works.
Well, they ain't getting my next $60 unless it's. All right, I'm just gonna stop the negative train right there, because just seeing all this cool crap in the console edition is just making me depressed about the PC version. I don't know.
Yeah, there does seem to be weird swings between the console and the PC version, admittedly. Like, console had Loop 1.5 technically, and then we got Loop 2.0, and now there's weird additions. I mean, it's not a terrible thing, but they said like they're gonna have patch support for the console, which is a great thing, because a game like this needs consistent patch support with PC or the consoles, and they were going to basically try to get it to where both the consoles and the PC were synced as far as the patches, so they come out around the same time, which is also a great thing to have. But stuff like that.
Yeah, for the console people.
But there's also limitations of the systems. I mean, LAN support for them, like, yeah, but PC was built for it. We can have this argument all day to where, blue in the face, but it's what they're doing, and I'm not gonna burn brain cells arguing something that I have no control over at this point. But
let's just call this what it is. We're beta testing on the PC so that we can make the console awesome. Let's just call that what it is.
Or you can view it as in they're taking new systems on the console, they're seeing if they're working and are good, and then they bring them to the PC. There's always two ways of looking at it. Perspective. But,
okay, yeah. We'll save that for a future prediction on the end of the show.
Okie dokie. Alright, so the console version goes live. Has been live since yesterday. And yeah, I mean, it seems really good. People like it. It's been getting good reviews all over the place. Wouldn't expect anything different at this point. I mean, it's on PlayStation 4, which I hear is outselling Xbox One 3-1 at this point. But hey, you know what? Blizzard's making another game. They're making money. I guess that's good for everything. and the world turns. So I think we'll, come to an end with Diablo 3, and we'll shuffle over to World of Warcraft. Beta, would you like to take over with just general news, all that lovely cinematic sexiness, and all that little fun stuff?
Yeah, so most of you have probably seen by now, but the Worlds of Draenor cinematic was released just last week, literally, and they had a big party, and I think that it's going to be like the launch party for Worlds of Draenor, honestly. They had a bunch of the developers on stage, and they were kind of talking about Worlds Draenor, and they had a little show. I think the whole thing lasted about an hour or 2 hours, and then it hit, and it was so good. Like, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil nothing, but yeah, you got to go check it out. It's bringing a bunch of... Just the cinematic itself is luring a bunch of people back into the World of Warcraft, so that's really cool. On top of that, what else does there, Dre?
I still want to get back in there and try out a monk and the panda race, because I actually got back into it, I think, right after the Christmas, because I bought Miss Pandaria for $4.99 or whatever down at Deal. So I bought a month of time in January, and I played a gnome monk, and it was just kind of like, but I think that's because I was on the Alliance, which I like Horde better. So I think if I can muster up $15 or whatever, or if I could do this on the beta or whatever, I think I might go try out the whatchamacallit, the panda and the monk on there, and just check it out.
Yeah, totally. They're kind of fun. They definitely have unique abilities to them, which is refreshing.
I was actually kind of interested in, because cooking, right? You don't usually hardly use that, but the panda, you get double the thing, or did they change that?
Yeah, I think you get like double the duration or something on your food buffs.
Or yeah, like double the effect of it. So instead of getting like a regen of like 50 HP, you get like 100. So that's kind of cool. I was thinking about looking into that, because that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Another thing that they did release at the quote unquote launch party for Worlds Draenor is they did announce an official date, and that's just a few months down the road.
Okay, two things on the date real quick. I would like to say, one, if it wasn't for the fact, who's gonna honestly predict a Thursday? At this point, I say they're going full on nutter for as much money as they can, because a Thursday release date. Okay, it's on Thursday. People will take off a Thursday and or a Friday to get into this. Yeah, we'll maximize that weekend gameplay. We'll release it on Thursday.
It's on the 14th, right? Of
13th, I thought.
13th, right?
Yeah, it's a Thursday. So I originally predicted it as November 18th. Everyone's either right before or right after BlizzCon, or September 30th. No way in hell. Diablo 3, okay, yeah, the auction house going down, who saw that coming around that time? No. It needs another month and a half to cook, and then a month after the beta servers come down, and then the Halloween event would come to an end on after Halloween, which was November 4th, which was a perfect time to start the pre-release event. So it gives them 2 to 3. That gives them 2 weeks of the pre-release event during BlizzCon. Also, to get everyone really hyped, one last big push, and then have the game come out just about a week and a half later. It's really insane to think the game would have came out before BlizzCon. Okay, the game's coming out, and we're sending all our developers, people, techs to BlizzCon, so the game can crumble at any moment, and there's no one there to surface it. Or right after BlizzCon, when everyone's still moving stuff back into the offices, because all the statues and everything are on the premises. For all the people who do not know, all the statues you see are on the campus, and they physically move those off the campus. We actually, last BlizzCon, we asked if we could go to the campus. It's probably the best thing, considering it's kind of bare before BlizzCon and immediately after. Aw, shucks. So I just wanted to put that out there with the November 13th. That was pretty damn close, and that was the most sane guess. And
yeah, well, they gotta get it out for the holiday season, and like November is kind of when most companies try to push their new products, so it makes sense.
And they have to hold themselves to their promise. This is one of those really weird times. Blizzard made a promise. If you pre-bought, pre-purchased, not pre-ordered, pre-purchased Warlords of Draenor, it said that's when everyone's like, "Oh my God, the game's coming out before the end of the year," because they said, "Get ready for Warlords of Draenor that will be out before the end of this year, by December of this year." So they made a promise. I mean, they could always have extended if they really needed it to, but this is like that one weird, strange time. Blizzard made a promise, and they have to hold themselves to it.
Yeah.
So I got a dumb question. Why is there no like new class or whatnot in this one?
Because they're focusing on making the game good.
Right. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, when you add a new class, you have to add a new starting area. You have to add all these NPCs, and you have to do that. If you add,
you gotta balance them.
Yeah, if you add a new class,
zone.
It's like a balance hell, because there's already so many like classes, and then the ever-loving changing of talent systems, for crying the fuck out loud. Every expansion, it's like, just keep it consistent, please. At least one expansion to another expansion, pretty much.
Basically, from what I picked up, they put their efforts into a new class and they put it into garrisons.
Yeah, I thought when I played it on the alpha, I thought it was pretty cool, the garrisons and whatnot. I mean, you could set characters out and do quests and stuff. It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, garrisons went from this like simple like la-di-la thing that you would do casually as you went to like it's like fully featured part of your whole leveling experience.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're not doing your garrisons, you're like doing something wrong. It's like facepalm. Like, what? You don't have your garrison? Like, dude, like, you're doing it wrong. Get on that. You don't have any gold? Okay, get farming. Oh, yeah, you don't have your garrison to help you out. Oh, now we see why you need your garrison, don't you? So, yeah, garrisons are a big thing. From all the YouTube people I follow, Noble, I don't know the numbers, but the name should be good enough, and Heels vs Babyface, also known as through their videos and just seeing what they're doing on the beta, because they go everywhere. They do scenery videos, and the entirety of the content, it looks fucking fantastic. Like, the art team seemed like they went above and beyond in all the areas, as they usually do for every expansion. And it's just nice to see that even though WoW is still that cartoony, cel-shaded abomination, because it doesn't fit in any one genre of style, it's kind of its own niche style of this is the WoW style, and that just is what it is. That it still looks good enough to play. You're not sick of it after all these years, 10 years almost. Oh god, this game is 10 years old.
But your so-called abomination cel-shaded graphics can outlive time, but something like Halo cannot. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it an abomination. I would call it just creative use of time. What's the word I'm looking for? Time
management.
Well, no, not time management, but like it'll last over time. There's a special term for that.
Longevity.
Longevity. Yes.
It's got longevity. The art style.
Okay, abomination is usually a negative connotation, but it was more or less to imply that WoW has its own unique art style, and they stick with it, and it works. Especially with really.
Man, biggest retract ever.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It was the wrong word.
Just kidding. It's not an abomination, guys. It's good.
It should have been mixture or whatever. But anyways, and also, I guess more importantly, because it's the avatar you play. They finally are. I think they almost have every, whether it's the male or the female of every race, redone and shown to the public at this point, and they all look freaking amazing.
Yeah, the only one that's not done, it's not going to be done for the release of the expansion, or the Blood Elves, so.
Oh yeah, the blood elf females.
Who cares? Who cares about them anyway?
I like blood elves.
Like
I just care about the I just care about the goblins. Who cares about anything else?
Yeah.
And the thing that ticked me off is you can't be a monk and a goblin at the same time. I mean, come on now.
That's a little weird.
That's awesome. That's not weird.
What's the definition of noble?
I don't know.
I don't really know, but I'm just guessing it doesn't relate to greed.
No. He's a. If you're talking about when I was talking about the YouTube podcasters and videos, that's what he does. He's one of them. He's one of the bigger ones. At least to my heart, and all the QAs he does and everything like that.
No, I meant goblins aren't noble. They're greedy. They can't be much.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely.
Well, okay, noble is belonging to a heredity class with high social or political status, aristocratic. Goblins can be aristocratic. I mean, they'll take your money, but they'll still be aristocratic.
Yeah, let's not get into fantasy geopolitical talk. That's a little much even for me. Alright. Now, even though Beta said spoiler free, now we're gonna dive down into this a little bit because when I saw the cinematic,
spoiler tags.
Spoiler tags from like this point until like whenever. It basically shows Gramash Hellscream, you know, the pivotal event of when he goes up to drink the blood of Manaroth, you know. The blood haze and all that other fun stuff that happens that basically kicks off all the events of the horde coming to Azeroth and all that fun stuff with you know, wars, humans dying, rawr.
Yeah, that was the original Warcraft, wasn't it?
I don't know. I didn't play any RTSs.
Boo.
I know. Kill me now. Skewer me.
But yeah, if I could talk, if I'm not mistaken, this was Warcraft 1 in the olden days. You know what I'm saying? That this history happened, and this is why they came over or whatever. And...
Yeah, basically, you know, kill Jane and all his lovely stuff planning, higher ups. So, basically, like the entire ending cinematic from there is more or less kind of sort of redone, except it's a little mysterious figure. And lo and behold, you know, I mean, we kind of knew this already, so it's not really so spoilish. But Grom, you know, Grom is his son, even though he doesn't know, came back, you know, with technology and, you know, beat down Manaroth in glorious style. And Hellscream had to, you know, run up and do his thing like he did in the past, and was about to get obliterated by Inferno Fire. But Grom came on through, saved his poppy, and yeah, it kind of ends with the construction of Dark Portal, which was fucking awesome. I just like construction in general, but just seeing that was an awesome thing. Like, Dark Portal being constructed, and just how much bigger it is on the Draenor side versus our tiny little thing.
Yeah, but you passed up the good part where the guy flung the axe into his head.
Oh, no, I said Hellscream did his thing, you know, what he did in the other cinematic. Yeah. You know, he did his thing, killed him, and then from there, yeah, whatever. We mentioned it, but that's not the big thing. So, I watched this thing. I watched it at work, you know, I was like dodging like people passing by my cubicle. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, like I haven't had an urge to play WoW, and this cinematic is leading me back to the Church of WoW. Like, I'm there. And then I have to agree with some people. It's like sometimes Blizzard needs to keep their mouth shut, because there were two things. Like, okay, there may only be two possible raid tiers, depending on how quickly the next expansion is created and released. So there's going to be two with an option for a third. Not that many, but then again, hey, you know, if you get to the second one, you get everything there, you know, that is what it is. We already know Hellscream, Gramash, the father, is going to be the end boss, supposedly, of this expansion. You know, things could change. Ooh, like, so much has changed during the beta process. So I'm like, So this is where I kind of have like apathy pains for Alliance. It's like, oh, you just went through Mr. Pandaria, but you had to go out and kill Grom, and now you're coming into a horde, an Iron Horn. Like it's orcs. It's not the horde orcs, but it's still orcs. And now you have to go after his father as the end boss. Like we're here like the Titans, man. Let's just make this neutral. Like let's not make this like, you know, the horde is fucked up, but they're more important. We're gonna give them the end boss, or so to speak. Like it's Iron Horde, no, it's still orcs. Orcs are orcs are orcs. And then we were led on just briefly the end of last week, and I think just like a day ago, end of Gamescom, but all these interviews are popping up that the Burning Legion will still be wreaking its ugly head, and I think it was also like Kill Jaden and Kill Jaden and Archimond, the two basically lieutenants of Sargeras himself, may be making appearances as well. So I'm like, oh god, Blizzard, like basically like keep it in the pants. Like you have to hold some kind of trump card even before the game is out. It's like if knowing all that, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna wait till the last patch. I'll get in the WoW. It's like when the Arthas patch was released for Wrath of the Lich King. It's like that was the best time to come in because you had all the content, you had all the reductions to the XP curve and the leveling and all this fun stuff, and then you could just breeze through the content, get all the fun stuff, have all the access, and be perfectly set in like a quarter of the time than everyone else was. So I'm like, Blizzard, keep stuff in the pants. Like it's okay not to let us know who the end boss is. Like you keep some things secret. I mean, data mining is gonna let us know this one way or another. So why try to jump ahead of it, especially when the game's not even out yet? It's still in beta. So do you guys have any more comments to add to that, or do you not care as much as I do? Whatever.
Clearly not.
I would
Iron
care
Horde
if I
is
had...
not the Horde.
I know. Okay, I was not disagreeing from the. I am always Horde, and I was coming as apathetic towards anyone who plays Alliance side. Like 2 expansions in a row, you're going after a former Horde leader, and basically his puppy. You're still going after a Hellscream. It's like, oh, that's a little annoying. It's annoying.
Well, alternatively, they could come out with some stuff like there's some New World Order conspiracy stuff happening on the Alliance, and the Horde have to go kill them or whatever.
Isn't it happening anyways? Isn't that like always happening in the Alliance side? I mean, I know the major thing with Varian and everything with like Ani, but that played out during the games. It wasn't so much with the Warcraft.
Like, you don't think that the bad guys should be the boss?
No. It's fine, but like, it's the concept of knowing the end boss before the game is out. It's the concept of knowing these, like Archimon and Kill Jaden and the Burning Legion will probably make an appearance and have some kind of influence, because you can just almost kind of string what they're gonna do. It's like,
I wonder if
okay,
Illidan's coming back.
Like, okay, if he is, they better keep that shit secret until it actually happens, because it's through the lore and knowledge of how demons work and what Illidan did to himself, Eternity, the Vials, and everything. They can work it in actually quite easily compared to some other lore characters. But I'll let everyone else do that research on their own, because I did. But yeah, so that was my own like big gripe. It's like, just keep it in the pants. Like, let us know in due time. Not even before the game comes out.
So you went digging for this information?
No, it's like interviews that's posted on like MLO Champion and other places.
Okay, yeah.
Like, yeah. So that's what it is. Like, anyone could have this happen to him. So, is there any more comments on World of Draenor that we may have said, may have missed? Random crap we want to talk about?
The Robin Williams character?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Who wants to talk about that? I know.
Not much to say. Yeah, they're at. So just like about an hour ago, it was data mined that there's going to be a new NPC in Worlds of Draenor, and it's going to be a genie, and his name's going to be Robin, and honoring Robin Williams passing away.
Yeah, I think that's nice. There are plenty of other celebrities and other people, and plenty of other people who have passed on, who either work for Blizzard or who have worked for Blizzard that are in there. In fact, where everyone was congregating in the Barrens for Robin Williams was actually a former Blizzard employee who passed away. I think during the development of Vanilla. I think he passed away, unfortunately, before the game even came out.
Yep.
If I remember that correctly. And there's a few others, I think, that are immortalized. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for Worlds of Draenor. I mean, we didn't get too tech-heavy. That's because the beta is always changing and always going. So they go on for half an hour now for stuff that could change literally tomorrow, since tomorrow's Thursday, and that's a big beta day. Yeah, we prefer to stay out of the weeds right now. So with that, we'll move on to Hearthstone, because we just wrapped up, got onto the last week of Quarters of Nax, and I'll let either Beta or Quad handle that one, and we'll go on from there.
So, yeah, the last tier of the Hearthstone Naxxramas cards were finally released. It includes 3 hero classes, or 3 hero cards this time, or hero class challenges. And the bosses are kind of interesting. They've got interesting mechanics. They involve like freezing. The last layer is the Frost Wyvern lair. This is where you fight Saphirion and Kel'Thuzad. The boss rewards for this one are the Echoing Ooze, the Shade of Naxxramas, as well as getting Kel'Thuzad after completing the wing. And you get the Paladin classes. I said 3 classes, but I was lying. There's only 1 class, it's the Paladin. Sorry, I just got my facts checked. But it's funny, I was actually listening to another podcast. I was listening to another podcast, and it was Ben, the lead designer, and he was talking about the Paladin class card and how he believes that this card is going to basically dominate the format and come back and like make the Paladin like the best class again. And well, pretty much everyone disagrees. Quad, what do you think is going to happen with the Paladin card? Sure. Okay, Quads.
Okay, so I'm actually playing against a Paladin right now, and he beat me, but he didn't use that card at all.
Yeah, what is that card? Let's see who gets to it first.
Avenge.
Yeah.
It's a secret. When a minion dies, if you have another minion in play, it will trigger and give it +3/+2.
Now the problem with that is that because they reworked secrets, so they don't trigger on your turn anymore. So basically, it's harder. It gives your opponents more chance to kind of play around it. Although I don't know how many people are going to be playing around it. It could be good. I mean, that's 3 power 2 toughness stats for 1 mana, and it's a secret, and it's also a spell, so it, can trigger some extra things. They got the new secret minion that death rattles and finds a secret, so that could be good.
So wait a minute, how does that work then? So let's make a scenario. If you have Avenge on and you have like 3 mobs, right? And one of them's like a taunt or whatever, and it's like a 10-10. So if your guy tries to attack the mob or whatever, and it damages it, but it doesn't kill it, and he decides to not kill a mob, does that avenge just linger around then?
Yeah, because avenge only triggers when a minion dies.
Oh, okay.
Friendly minion dies. Give a random friendly minion +3/+2. So it's a random one.
Yeah, so they can kind of work around it and just wait for a board wipe. Or
okay, yeah, I'm looking at the card text right now.
Yeah, like warriors would probably have an easy counter with execute. Like
exactly.
I don't know. Priests. Well, priests could probably counter around that easy enough. And hunters could probably still overwhelm, so it probably doesn't really matter. Unless they're using a lot of Divine Shield heavy deck with the minions type deal. But who knows? Who knows until we see it actually get indexed, where, you know, Trump makes a deck and it works and has 2 of them in there, and then everyone copies it like within like 6 hours.
I'm excited to make like a paladin control deck using the Shade of Naxxramas, and not so much the hero card, but the Shade of Naxxramas. It's the 2/2 stealth for 3 that has at the start of your turn it gets +1/+1, and it's got stealth. So imagine you play that, right? Early game it's good, it's kind of hard to deal with, you know, and then if it lives, you know, it just keeps buffing itself. Late game you can play it and then throw Blessing of Kings on it, so it automatically comes into play as a 6/6, which is good because all you need is like 2 Blessing of Kings and then you win the game. Or Blessing... Was it Blessing of Kings or was it Blessing of Might? The Blessing that doubles damage. Yeah.
Oh, no,
somebody
Kings
just tried that against me right now, actually. They tried the Shade of Naxxramas, and I wiped it off the board with Auchenai Soul Priest and Circle Healing.
Oh, you dirty priest, you. Not trying to move away from, you know, the whole Naxxramas thing, but even though it's still related.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
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 Having a choking issue over here. I think I'm good now.
That
was like random. Wow. Yeah, sorry about that. We'll edit that one out. Wow, that was horrible. It's like I'm choking on air. Like, how did that happen? Like, really? Why did?
I have an explanation of that.
No,
a ghost decided to just come over.
Alrighty, so yeah, edit 1. Okay, so related to Naxxramas and everything, not directly to what you were talking before. The whole, you know, Shaman, Reincarnate, Baron Rivendell, and Leroy Jenkins. Like, it's a lot of cards, but I saw a video of someone who pulled it off to absolute perfection, and it disturbs me. Have you guys been running into that, like, more or less? Have people been trying to do that, or...
No, it's not consistent.
It's not, yeah, it's not feasible. Like, the thing is, like, that combo is really cool, but it requires, like, 8 cards, and you just, you know, 8 out of your 10 possible cards is just, like, it's way too many.
So, the lower grade version of maybe a Reincarnate R2 and a Leroy would be a much more feasible.
I actually have kind of a version of the deck. It's mostly just like value, but it does run Baron Rivendell, and only run one Reincarnate. And Reincarnate is pretty good because you can either use it as like a double Leroy, right? Double Leroy trigger. So it's kind of like a Wind Fury. But at the same time, you know, you can also use it as like a silence, which is also very useful. Or, you know, it's just, or you can use it to, you know, obviously reincarnate your guys like it's intended to. So it can kind of be used in 3 different ways, which is really, really good. Makes the card definitely worth having one of. I don't know about having more than one, but yeah, definitely having like just like some really good cards like Sylvanas, like one of Sylvanas, like that card's already really strong by itself and in your deck. Then if you have if you happen to have Reincarnate, it's like, oh yeah, this is really sweet. Or if you have Baron Rivendor in play, it's like, sweet. And then think.
So here's the scenario. Guy has Shade of Naxxramas up to 8 power. I play my Sylvanas, and I've already mind games his Reincarnate. I reincarnate my Sylvanas and steal his Shade.
Oh, that's brutal.
And I also have a Baron Rivendare and Kel'Thuzad in my hand that I stole from him.
Yeah, I can see Sylvanas getting more play now that the Shade of Naxxramas, at least for the next couple of weeks, while people still figure out the meta and try out these like Shade of Naxxramases.
My final words are Dirty Priest. Is there anything else you want to add? Potentially? Anything that we should mention? Or is that pretty much it?
I don't see a lot of people playing Kel'Thuzad, which is a shame, because I want that card to be good. But...
yeah, but is that the one that costs 8 though?
yeah, it costs 8, it's a 6/8, at the end of each turn summon all friendly minions that died.
Right, if you try playing that with like a zoo or aggro deck, it's like you want to win by turn 8, you don't want to get past turn 8 or else you lost.
Yep. So, oh well. I wonder how... I wonder if that could work in like some type of hunter control with like Unleash the Hounds, because you usually suicide the Hounds anyway.
You keep having a small...
oh my god. Can you imagine
it's a horrible thought, but you like a puppy mill. Oh, you just keep on bringing them out. I'm sorry. That's a horrible thought.
No, but that's totally true. That's how it works. Like, you play Unleash the Hounds, or you have Kel'Thuzad in play, and then next turn you play Unleash the Hounds, or you coin Unleash the Hounds, and you have like a Buzzard in play too, and you just like draw a billion cards, suicide them into like stuff, and then at the end of your turn you draw a billion more cards. So much value.
I mean, you get the minions for free, you get extra card draw. I mean...
yeah, but then you need a Lothab, so that way you can't get your minions killed, so that then next turn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always good old Lothab.
And just keep killing the Lothab or whatever, so it keeps coming back too.
And I guess the other bigger, because it's really a 3 set of cards. How do you guys feel about Thaddeus and that whole one-off mechanic?
Just hold on. Before we switch, Kel'Thuzad, wonder how he would work if you like reincarnate him. Because it says at the end of turn, summon all friendly minions that died this turn. So if you like
You'd get another one.
Reincarnate, you get 2?
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's actually pretty darn cool.
Oh my god. That's... hurts the brain to think about that kind of stuff. And with that, to go on to the thing that even hurts your brain even more, the whole Thaddeus combo and that big thing.
Oh
What are
yeah.
your thoughts on that? Because that has some pretty wacky mechanics as far as like who played what and when, what died when, and board wipes. It gets kind of complicated.
I like them because it brings like legitimate CC back into the game, whereas everyone before was kind of just using creatures and suiciding them or using Ragnaros or something, you know. They usually use some type of creature or spell that just does direct damage instead of using actual hard removal like Assassinate or Polymorph or Hex. So I think a lot more mages are probably going to be running Polymorphs. I don't know if rogues are going to be running Assassinates, honestly, because it's just too much of a tempo swing, but they're probably definitely seeing a lot of saps and stuff now too.
Or just Owl.
Yeah, or Owl. That's a good point.
Good old trusty owls.
The thing is, though, like, the interesting thing is, like, Silence is such a strong ability, but it's strong, but it's also, like, not strong at the same time, because the creatures that Silence is on, there's only 2 neutral ones, and they're both pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like if they added more creatures in the future with Silence, with better stats, at least the Iron Owl is Beast, so it can kind of combo with some Hunter cards, but
Yeah, I mean, you can't have too much silence out there. Then it's like you won't be able to play half your cards. I mean, you'll be happy you play, like, you get like one thing off in like a game. But no, I understand. It's like Spellbreaker and Owl. It's like, ugh, okay. And it's also, what are you giving up for that 30th card? Like, what could you put in there that would potentially be a much better card to put in there?
Ragnaros.
Yeah. It's like,
It's always Ragnaros.
It's like Ragnaros, Leroy, if you have it. Anything, really. Yeah, so that's always the other point of contention. So, is there anything else on Hearthstone before we move on to our BlizzCon predictions? You know, since we're about 2 months out.
That's it.
Alrighty. So, Leslie will move on to a, casual, let's try to do our best with BlizzCon predictions. So, I'm gonna go first. Damn right. I guess what we can do is just do general quick predictions for each game, each of the 5. World of Warcraft in general, I mean, the game's being released 2 weeks after. I don't think they're going to be that snide, if I'm using the correct word, or that forward-thinking to announce a new expansion before one has even come out. I think that would put a bad taste in people's mouth as we're supporting the current one. So I think it's going to be all about War Legend, or one big last hype push, knowledge push before the game comes out, try to maximize the sales and just get everyone the most information before the game comes out. Diablo 3 is, I feel it's kind of up in the air. I want to say, yeah, we're going to get that expansion announcement. But I really don't know. I mean, we could get expansion announcement. We could not. I'm really not swinging one way or another. If we're not going to get expansion announcement, I don't know what they could tell us in the meantime. I'm not going to say PvP. I'm not going to try to say Blizzard's going to give us that olive branch. I mean, they still have to balance the classes, regardless of PvE. So let's not go down that road.
Well, that's the thing, Dread. They haven't, they can't really announce more things for Diablo 3, right? Like, they got seasons coming up, and that was their really big push, and ladders.
Yeah, that's the thing they're doing now. So it's like, we got what we've been asking for. Shut up. You got what you want. Eat your cake and be a nice good fat kid. Oh, okay. Sorry. But that's kind of like what it is. It's like the community asked for it. We're getting it. Be content with what you have for once. StarCraft 2, part of me is burning and aching for an expansion announcement. Partly because it's the Protoss one, and I just want to see the Protoss kick ass and dig names. Like, I just feel like they've been trounced over the last couple of years in StarCraft 2. They just felt like minor characters. It's like, but yet they're kind of centered to like the whole storyline, more or less. I just want to see him come back to glory, take back Ire, and kick some ass in the meantime. Jimmy and Kerrigan, get the old crew back together, back in the original days, Brood War days, that kind of deal. For the expansion announcement, that's what I want to see. Just give me a fucking cinematic. That's all I want, Blizzard. That's all I want. Hearthstone, I think there's already been rumors of the next adventure mode being taken out. Some people are calling out to the Arthas card back, and the iced over monocrystals as a potential lead on. But who knows? It could be, it could not be. But I think it's been said they're leading on, so it's about time. This one's over. It went over well, except for purchasing issues, but they're working on that. And what am I leaving out? Yes. Here's the Storm. They went global as far as the alpha is concerned, and they have invited a lot more people. It's 2 months out. Will they they'll probably be going into at least a closed beta state, and using BlizzCon as that's probably the big push into that phase of testing. And hopefully by the end of the year, beginning of next year, there'll be an open beta. Probably have a late February, probably more like late March release for the game, I would imagine. Because their development team has said multiple times that they could make a change and within a week it's on the server, and they've proved that multiple times. Like, they've had live streams, Q&As on a Thursday, and guess what? Everything they said on Thursday is on the alpha servers that Friday. So they aren't kidding around when they say if they do a quick change, they're on there. Along with the introduction of a new map, more heroes, PAX Prime being within the next couple of weeks, and they're gonna have more heroes out there. I think they're finally getting into a swing where they're just gonna be in like more content, refine, iterate, to bring back that term from Diablo 3 that they've been using, and get this game ready to get pushed out by the beginning of next year, so they have a chance to breathe. Have more people for the StarCraft 2, hopefully, announcement, expansion, development, and they'll be able to focus on the next games that they're doing at that particular point. It's swing to more of a support role than a development role, I would think. So I try to be as quick as I can. Beta, you go?
Warcraft, nothing new. Diablo 3 expansion. StarCraft 2, probably an expansion. Hearthstone expansion. Heroes of the Storm, couple new heroes. Go.
Jimmy!
Alright, World of Warcraft. Some kind of flashy mount to get people interested into buying the game again. Diablo 3. Okay, let's look at what happened last year. We got what Gamescom got. So guess what? This is going to be Christmas hype for the console. We're going to get to play the console, meh. Okay, whatever. And they're not going to talk about an expansion because I don't think there's going to be another one for at least the next... Okay, if there's going to be another expansion, it's going to be talked about next BlizzCon, not this one. What we're going to get from Diablo at this BlizzCon is going to be, like I said, the console hype for Christmas sales, and then the Seasons patch, or whatever. That's going to come out, like, after BlizzCon or whatever.
No.
Hey, that's my prediction. Shut up.
Seasons are coming out this month. We already know that.
Well, they...
No. They said 2.1 is coming out within a couple weeks. They did not say that Seasons are coming with it. So,
yeah, he is right on that, and that was actually said from almost from the very beginning of the patch. So he is correct in that point, Jamie.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. 14 love. All right. So yeah, the Seasons patch is coming afterwards, and then I don't know, maybe that's it. That's not for Diablo, but you could be right with the StarCraft thing. Hearthstone, probably a special card backing or something, some unique thing or whatever. And let's see, for Heroes of the Storm, it's probably going to be characters and Christmassy and seasonal costumes and stuff for certain characters or whatever. And I guess that's it.
And Leslie Quad, what do you predict? Mr. Fan? The Fan Man.
Just a StarCraft expansion.
Well, what about the other games? Your input is valued.
Warcraft 4. Warcraft 4.
No. They're not gonna do it. They'll do...
Times change.
Times may change, but money never does.
Actually, with whatchamacallit, the US dollar is going down in price, but that's another total thing.
Well, okay. Here's the reason why they will not do a Warcraft 4. Because they already have an RTS, and they're going to make people get that RTS and save on the development cost. What they may do, and what many people have alluded to, and could, be done by a couple of interns or lower level people as like a side project, is take like Warcraft 1 or even 3, since it's more related, whichever one is more related to the storyline, which they all kind of are in their own way, and just remaster it like graphics like Warcraft 1 or 3 and digital remastered edition. Get it now for $25.
I want them all redone, and I'm not going to pay no more than $10.
Yeah, so that's more likely than an actual Warcraft 4, because then they have an RTS competing with one of their other RTSs. So they're putting money in things that is competing to make them money. It's not good from a business perspective. Yeah, I'm just really aching for a StarCraft 2 expansion announcement, because if they're gonna have a BlizzCon, they need a big announcement. And it usually is always in the form of a expansion or new game. And if it's Diablo, I don't think Diablo 3 itself can carry such a thing. Maybe in conjunction with the StarCraft 2 expansion announcement, like considering that's like the last one, I would think that would make a decent BlizzCon as far as announcements, and hopefully we just get a lot more content news. That's what I think this one's going to be. Where last year was a whole big mess of game announcements, this one's going to be more of a content rich BlizzCon. So, but we'll see. So, all our BlizzCon predictions are now set in stone 2 months before ahead of time. And Jamie, if you're right on any of yours, I owe you a beer. I'll just say that now. Yeah, so I think that's it for now. Any other lingering thoughts or that we want to say?
Yes. Are we going to get information about the so-called quote-unquote special Titan project at this BlizzCon?
I don't know. I mean, it's up for debate if Titan itself even exists at this particular point, or what it is, or what it's going to be.
They already said that it's like not even going to come out until 2016 or something.
No, they canned it, gave it they basically said they canned it and they're starting from scratch.
Yeah, they went back to basics, and it was like a rescheduled like 2016 type deal. So, they're probably not gonna do anything now, especially with WoW being the way it is. Like, they're gonna try to get WoW to go as long as they can before they do anything else, because they...
Can you think, what if StarCraft Ghost comes out? What if that's what they've been working on? How crazy would that be? Because it's from the StarCraft universe.
It's not from the StarCraft universe. It's a sci-fi-esque, led to believe to be a potentially a shooter-esque, with like a more modern day engine, and what it's gonna be. So everyone's like alluded to, potentially being a StarCraft Ghost variant, or taking working knowledge and intellectual properties from that and kind of reworking it for what they want Titan to be. But I still think we're unfortunately a year or two off before we know anything about that. But Titans, ever since last year, where everyone was kind of like, thinking Titan was going to be announced or at least shown, I think Titan's going to be like an every year expected type deal until we get a confirmation that it's either a dead project or here it is, guys, and then we go from there.
Cool.
Yeah, so with that, again, just like to say thanks to Beta, Jamie, and Quad for joining us. You can find this Grindcast on our YouTube channel. Just go search for Grindcast or GrindExp on youtube.com. You can find it on our site as well as grindexp.com. You can find us on Facebook, just search for GrindExp, or as well as Twitter, just search for GrindExp, or just simply at GrindExp. And yeah, that's about it. So you'll catch us then. We'll have another one in a couple of weeks. Getting more active, considering we're getting closer to BlizzCon. More information is coming out, more stuff to talk about, as well as Scythe and Shield will be getting up. I pretty much have the next 3 or 4 interviews lined up in my head, just getting confirmations with everybody, make sure everything is stable and everything works out, as well as waiting for the aforementioned patch P 2.1 to actually come out, so there's something to discuss, but in more hardened terms. looking to get Nevik from the Shared Soulstone, Archon the Wizard, also the other half of Nine Ball with the West March Workshop. Yeah, try to say that one fast. Who was previously interviewed in show 6. And show number 2 of the Rumsey Ramble should be up later tonight. Looks at beta and or quad in the lovely mumble that we have when that will get up. And you can look forward to more episodes as well as other things that are planned and being worked on for Hearthstone to support that game as well. So there's more things we are working on, we are planning. It's just, summer illness and getting over that and just getting everything lined up and getting back in the groove of things with BlizzCon approaching. So we will say our goodbyes. Thank you for enjoying this show. We will catch you next time. So just lastly, once again, for Beta, Jamie, and Quad, thanks for being here, and we will say goodnight, folks.
Night.
Meow.
See ya.